Number 8. Kevin Mattingly. During what began as a routine traffic stop for rolling through an intersection in Summerfield, Florida in September 2021, a police K9 alerted to the possible presence of narcotics in 26-year-old Kevin Dalton Mattingly's car. When Marion County deputies instructed Mattingly to exit the vehicle, he put the car in drive and sped off along a highway, reaching speeds as high as 110 miles per hour in a 55-mile-per-hour zone. Then, after chasing the suspect for 7 miles, deputies called off the pursuit for safety reasons. However, they caught up with Mattingly nearly 2 weeks later and booked him into jail on a fleeing and eluding charge. Mattingly bonded out for $10,000 and accrued at least one felony warrant over the next several months. In February 2022, deputies responded to a 911 hang-up call at a residence in Umatilla and found Mattingly's car parked outside. As they approached the property with a K9, they spotted Mattingly outside. He allegedly tried to flee in a pickup truck and resisted fiercely as deputies pulled him out of the vehicle. And while being transported to the Marion County Jail, Mattingly repeatedly asked one of the cops to throw away a bag of methamphetamine they'd found in his pocket. He offered to let the deputy keep a large wad of cash that the drugs were found with in exchange for trashing the meth, and he even tried reassuring the deputy that he wouldn't get in trouble for honoring the request. Of course, the deputy refused, and Mattingly earned himself a bribery charge on top of any other allegations he was already facing. Number 7. Sean Sheridan. After striking a plea deal for shooting his former fiancée in the neck, 34-year-old Sean Sheridan failed to show up for his sentencing hearing in July 2023. The victim survived, but was paralyzed for months amid an ongoing road to recovery. Sheridan was facing 12 years in the New York State prison system when he skipped bail, triggering a large-scale manhunt. 3 weeks later, a state trooper's K9 was shot while he searched in the Downerville State Forest near the town of Russell. The trooper returned fire, fatally striking Sheridan in the face. He was pronounced dead at the scene, and the police K9 survived. In a statement, the state police said that their goal was to take Sheridan into custody without incident, but unfortunately, that didn't happen. Sheridan had been living in a tent in the forest for nearly a month with his 19-year-old girlfriend, Chantel Myatt, who'd been reported missing 2 weeks earlier. According to police, both Sheridan and Myatt were heavily camouflaged when they were found, with Myatt wearing a ghillie suit and Sheridan heavily armed. Myatt told local station WWNY that she didn't know her boyfriend was a fugitive. She admitted that she went into the woods with Sheridan, but claimed that she initially believed they were simply on a camping trip. The couple survived off wild animals that they trapped, according to Myatt, who said she'd boiled a possum for dinner the night before the shootout with police. As the couple's time in the wilderness dragged on, Myatt became suspicious about why they were really out there. But when she questioned Sheridan, he allegedly claimed that he was just enjoying himself so much that he didn't want to return to society. Myatt extended the benefit of the doubt for as long as she could, only to realize that she didn't really have a choice about whether or not to go home. She became scared to walk away, and at some point during the trip, she discovered she was pregnant with Sheridan's child. When the couple awoke to the sound of a helicopter overhead one morning, they moved their campsite. Then, shortly thereafter, Myatt heard someone aggressively call her boyfriend's name. As she ran away from Sheridan, she heard 3 gunshots, and by the time she turned around and looked in Sheridan's direction, he was lying on the ground with a gunshot wound to the head. Myatt admittedly became afraid of Sheridan during their time in the woods. Despite this, though, she said that she wants people to know that he wasn't a demon, but a very scared soul who didn't know where his life was going and just wanted some sort of control of it. For obvious reasons, there's a good chance that few people will take a similarly sympathetic view, and while resorting to deadly force is never ideal, Sheridan sealed his fate the moment he decided to shoot at a cop. Number 6. Samuel Hartman. 39-year-old Samuel Hartman was 9 years into serving a life sentence for attacking his stepdaughter when he escaped from an Arkansas prison in August of 2022. He was working in a field with other inmates when a truck with 2 women in it pulled up. The women, who were later identified as Hartman's wife, Misty Hartman, and her mother, Linda Annette White, allegedly began shooting at the other prisoners while Hartman rushed into the truck. With officers in pursuit, the truck sped to the bank of the Mississippi River, where 2 jet skis had been placed ahead of time. The trio then fled across the river and ditched the machines on the Mississippi side. They remained on the run for over a year, while investigators followed up on hundreds of leads. After discovering that Hartman's mother-in-law had ties to West Virginia, law enforcement eventually tracked down the fugitives at a hotel in Lewisburg. They arrested the Hartmans, Linda White, and White's boyfriend, Rodney Trent. A photo taken during the arrest showed Hartman's face covered in blood, but it's unclear how he sustained the injuries. Hartman was returned to prison to serve his life sentence, and everyone else involved is facing charges for assisting and/or harboring the escapee. Number 5. Matthew Mannix. After learning that he was wanted in Colorado for crimes he swears he didn't commit, including an alleged kidnapping, 35-year-old Matthew Mannix flew to Las Vegas to avoid facing the charges. He later told local station KTNV that he planned to survive by making money playing poker. But Mannix got kicked out of the first hotel he stayed at, and instead of returning to Colorado and facing the allegations against him, he slept on the roof of a parking garage and continued gambling. He met a woman named Anna at a casino, and they got a room at Caesar's Palace. Then, less than 4 days into the trip, Mannix devolved into a drug-induced rampage. By his own admission, he was high on weed, kratom, methamphetamine, and other stimulants when a meltdown occurred. He didn't remember what happened, but everyone who witnessed it will likely never forget it. According to a police report, Mannix held his new lady friend hostage in their 21st floor hotel room while claiming that he was armed and threatening to kill anyone who tried entering the room. Mannix said that the woman was in the room willingly, while crisis negotiators reported seeing her make a dash for the door, only to be body slammed by Mannix during her attempt to escape. He also allegedly threatened to cut the woman's tongue out if she tried to communicate with law enforcement. A drone captured footage of Mannix smoking from what appeared to be a meth pipe during the standoff, and authorities described both the fugitive and his female hostage as extremely high to the point of paranoia. The pair were also seen having intercourse, despite the crisis at hand. The hotel was on lockdown for 5 hours as police and SWAT teams surrounded the building, and at some point Mannix began throwing furniture through the window, prompting an evacuation of the pool area below. He caused over $50,000 worth of damages to the hotel, which he's since agreed to pay back. After Mannix was finally taken into custody, the woman who was with him claimed she wanted to leave the room, but that he threatened to throw her out of the window if she tried. Mannix took a deal and pleaded guilty to felony property destruction and misdemeanor negligence charges in exchange for getting several more serious charges dropped. He faces 1 to 5 years in prison in Nevada and is scheduled to be sentenced in September 2023. After the hearing, he'll be extradited to Colorado to face his criminal cases there. Number 4. Jeremy Wood. 41-year-old Jeremy Wood was wanted on multiple parole violations, including possession of methamphetamine and failing to appear in court when investigators traced him to a home in Evansville, Indiana in August 2023. Police and U.S. Marshals surrounded the residence and evacuated the rest of the household members, but Wood hid in the attic and refused to come out. For several hours, negotiators tried getting Wood to exit the home by broadcasting messages to him on loudspeakers, and in the meantime, deputies applied for a warrant to use more aggressive measures. After issuing multiple warnings with no response from Wood, law enforcement deployed gas into the home in an effort to force him out. He then peacefully surrendered a few minutes later. This wasn't the first time Wood made news headlines for an arrest. Back in 2017, he was accused of trying to shoplift several blocks of cheese from a supermarket by stuffing them into his pants. He's currently behind bars while awaiting his next court date for his current case. Number 3. Taryn Green. Whenever possible, SWAT teams avoid resorting to aggressive and deadly tactics, but sometimes law enforcement has no other choice. One such situation occurred in Harris County, Texas in August 2023, when a 34-year-old suspected cop shooter named Taryn Green refused to exit the house where he was hiding. The manhunt for Green began the previous day after he allegedly shot Sheriff's Deputy Joseph Anderson during a routine traffic stop, and afterward, he fled the scene. At the time, Green had outstanding warrants for jumping bond on charges of aggravated assault of a family member and being a felon in possession of a firearm. He also has a lengthy criminal history, which includes 3 previous prison stints. During the 24-hour manhunt that ensued, Green's family members worked closely with law enforcement in hopes of bringing the situation to a peaceful end. The fleeing fugitive was ultimately traced to a non-relative's house, where he allegedly shot 2 U.S. Marshals and 1 Harris County deputy as they approached the residence. Miraculously, all 4 members of law enforcement who were struck by gunfire throughout the ordeal survived their injuries. An hours-long standoff ensued, lasting into the night, while Green remained barricaded in the house. Meanwhile, 2 armored vehicles could be seen circling the home, as well as a drone and a robotic dog. Harrowing footage showed the vehicles ramming into the house and using a hydraulic arm to gouge large holes into the second floor. Police could also be seen deploying gas into the residence in an attempt to force Green out. Witnesses later described the scene as resembling something out of an action movie. He finally relented just before midnight and crawled onto the hydraulic arm that had been puncturing holes into the house. Green was then lowered to the ground, where a team was waiting with their rifles pointed. Thankfully, though, he was taken into custody without any further violence. He faces 4 charges of attempted capital murder, and if convicted, he'll face 25 to 99 years in prison. He's currently being held without bail while he awaits his next court date. Green's cousin, Arnacia Ulrich, told Fox 26 that the family was shocked and heartbroken to learn of Green's suspected crimes. She extended the family's sorrow and sympathy toward the officers who were shot and their families, and she commended law enforcement for handling the situation with utmost professionalism. Ulrich also acknowledged the impact of the incident on the community and hoped for healing to come now that Green is in custody. Number 2. Isaac Morales. While investigating reports of suspicious activity at a hotel in Westbrook, Maine in August 2023, agents from the state's Drug Enforcement Agency uncovered evidence indicating that someone was dealing drugs out of one of the rooms. After obtaining a warrant, they searched a room shared by a 38-year-old Texas man named Isaac Morales, his girlfriend, and 2 children. Inside the room, agents found nearly a half-pound of crystal meth, 3.2 ounces of cocaine powder and crack, 1.3 ounces of heroin, as well as packing materials and cash that's believed to be the profits from drug sales. And altogether, the drugs were estimated to have a street value of $40,000. At the time of his arrest in Maine, Morales was already a wanted man in Texas on 3 outstanding warrants for drug-related charges, human trafficking, and smuggling persons. He now also faces charges in Maine for aggravated trafficking of methamphetamine and being a fugitive from justice. Morales is being held without bond in Maine while he addresses his legal issues there. But once the case is squared away, he'll most likely be extradited to Texas to face his charges there. Number 1. Wayne Parker. In October 2022, a 35-year-old farmer/scammer from Suffolk, England, named Wayne Parker was found guilty of defrauding several victims out of nearly $1 million. According to records, Parker opened lines of credit with animal suppliers and veterinarians and maxed them out with no apparent plans to repay the debts. He failed to appear in court for sentencing in February 2023 and continued to elude authorities for the next 6 months. Authorities said that Parker made multiple promises to return to Suffolk to face the music in court, but he repeatedly failed to live up to his word. Parker is currently still at large, but investigators made a major breakthrough in August 2023 when he was spotted on Match.com. The discovery has helped investigators start to narrow down his whereabouts, and they've also found records of Parker hiring cars in what appears to be an attempt to avoid detection by police. His decision to look for love could very well prove to be his undoing, as detectives work diligently to follow his trail. In a previous case dating back to 2020, Parker allegedly failed to properly dispose of livestock remains. He was also moving large numbers of animals without keeping proper records or following the legal standards for doing so. Authorities prosecuted him for posing a serious risk of spreading bovine tuberculosis and imposed a 12-week jail sentence followed by an 18-month ban from conducting business in the industry. Would you rather live next to a wooded area where an escaped fugitive is thought to be hiding out during a months-long manhunt, or spend the entire summer with a broken ankle? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.